Hello, my dear friends. Today we will discuss the essay The Spectator, written in 1711 by Richard Steele. The Spectator was a publication founded by Joseph Addison and Richard Steele in 1711 to 1712. It was a kind of club. It was aimed to enliven morality with wit and to temper wit with morality. So, this was the basic idea of this club founded by these two people, Richard Steele and Joseph Addison. It brought philosophy out of closet and libraries, schools, colleges, and to dwell in clubs. So, assemblies and tea coffee tables, coffee houses were popular at the time of Richard Steele. In these essays, women were targeted by the audiences. This club it provided topics for well-reasoned discussions and it engaged in social interaction in a polite manner. So this talks about this is a kind of discussions among the writers and the authors. So the authors of Spectator Club promoted family marriages and courtesy. Now we will talk about the Spectator. It is written by Richard Steele and it created a narrative for Incle and Eurico. It is a story. The story is based on Richard Ligon's publication, A True and Exact History of Ireland of Barbados, and it reports how the cruelties of the transatlantic slave the trade contribute to slave produce goods as such tobacco and sugarcane. So there is a woman called Arita whom people visit to discuss various topics. In Spectator, Mr. Spectator, he enters in the room of Arita. Other people were already discussing the things. So this is the setting that Mr. Spectator enters in the room of Arita and other people were already discussing the things. Now they are discussing constancy in love and the man. So there were some people who were discussing the topic constancy in love and the man, and they uses the tale of Ephesian Martin to support their point. Here Mrs. Arita Arita is insulted and she get angered by man's hypocrisy and sexism. So now she counters his tale with one of her own. It is story of Incle and Eurico. So this is the setting of this essay. So we may ask that who was Mr. Spectator? Who found the club, the Spectator? Who found this club Spectator? What is an aphoristic essay? Richard and Johnson is famous for aphoristic style of his writing. So it is a kind of compact, condensed and epigrammatic style of writing. And next, some way we may call it it is a kind of personal essay because personal. It is a kind of writing about an important person, event or time of period. So here Steele is also writing about a person who is Sir Roger de Coverley, and the tone of this essay is an apathy regarding matters that happens outside his realm. The characters of this essay wakes up at 8 and walks and then goes to the fields. Now, who is Sir Roger de Coverley? It is very important character in this essay. Actually, he was an ancient baronet. He was called after his great grandfather, who was inventor of famous country dance. And Sir Roger de Coverley, he was a gentleman singular in behavior, and his singularities proceed from his good sense, and he was also a contradiction to the manner of the world. So only as he thinks the world is in the wrong side, even though he is a fictional character, he represents a certain class of English gentlemen, and that's why he is represented by Richard Steele in his essay The Spectator, or we may call it The Spectator's Club. And the theme of this essay is, it is a representation of middle class of English gentlemen. Through this essay, Richard Steele wants to comment on the English society as a whole, and mostly hypocritical class, because in the neoclassical age, or we may call it as the Augustan age, there was a hypocritical society. Through this, he reflected a political and social comments what was ground around him in his contemporary life. So he gives a real kind of description of his contemporary life. The stylistic feature of the essay is that in this essay writers uses fictional style. Although it is an essay, but in this we find that it is a kind of story within the essay through fictional characters like Roger de Coverley. Because Roger de Coverley, he represents Addison and Steele's version of the typical Tory of mid 18th century. Tory, we may call, Tory is a party, a political party, a conservative, an old-fashioned, outmoded moral beliefs, unsympathetic to the plight of the common man, and blissfully he represents unaware of the economic and social changes in the society. So Roger de Coverley is a kind of portrayal of some Tory leader. It also talks about Mr. Spectator. He represents literature and knowledge, the temper for legal matters. Honeycomb here represents social life, and clergyman represents so there are 4 characters in this essay: Mr. Spectator, the Templar, Honeycomb, clergyman, and Sir Andrew Freeport. He is a kind of businessman, economic matters. A Captain Sentry, he represents military matters. All the representers are the 18th century British society. So these all characters are the very real reflection of the British society of the 18th century. So it is a kind of comment by Johnson and Steele. Addison and Steele, and Johnson also has been commented on this essay. Like Dr. Johnson said that it is a good natured satire rather than inventive, and it attempts to suggest the models of proper behavior. So this is the moral sentence of this essay, that we can say that it is a kind of attempt to suggest models for proper behavior, how we should behave in society. So next we will deal in our later videos. Thank you. Stay connected. Bye.